Boy, am I ready for today. A couple things we need to do to brown sugar to get her ready for Sturgis so I can start the whole loading process, and I don't have time for any of this because we have to build another motorcycle after this in like 2 weeks, but this is gonna be fine. It's fine. So, at any minute, however the hell that phrase goes, a FedEx truck is going to pull up in front of the house and unload 5 massive boxes of painted parts from Advan Black. Why? Because I overcommit myself and promise to do things that are not really that possible, and therefore I turn my life into a circa 2000 chopper show on Discovery Channel with like in only 7 days. I'm literally doing that crap to myself because this motorcycle right here, the wife's lovely 2019 CVO Road Glide, has never been customized. It's got an air cleaner, it's got a cam in it, and it's got a tune to it. Other than that, bike's basically completely stock. That is all about to change. Because my wife wanted to go ahead and have a very special douchebagger, she wanted this. It's not me, it's her. We have decided to preserve the body that's on this bike because we all love this paint. I love this paint, so it's not because we don't like it. It's got some age showing. Bikes, we've had it 3.5 years and it's got 21,000 miles on it. And it's not that that's old, you know, but it's got, you know, some age around the gas door and the gas hole. It's got, you know, some things, and I just want to make sure the body doesn't go downhill anymore. So we're going to take all that off and preserve it and put an entirely new body on this bike. So this is coming all the way down to the frame and motor. Front wheel's got to go off because it needs front tire. Back one's okay. Exhaust is getting changed. Whole new body and all that. That is a whole other series of videos. What we are doing today is finishing some little stuff I need to get right on the chopper so that it can get loaded to give me room to start working on the transplants that are happening and all this modification in the next few days. So let's get on to sugar. So today's activity isn't that complicated. What we're basically doing, oh, by the way, she went to my buddy Chris chopper shop here in West Palm, great guy, and basically I just dropped it off and said, I know that I've got a bowl, the float is stuck in the bowl in the carb, so it's overflowing. It got that oil leak I want you to figure out. You can see there's no oil under it. And some other things. And I said, so take care of that oil leak. Go ahead and rebuild the carb for me because I just didn't want to do it, to be honest. And see if there's anything else you notice and just take care of it. I trust you. And he had it for about 2 weeks. And when I picked it up, he said, I'm just glad I didn't do a formal work order on it because I don't know how many hours I have in this thing. Like, he found so many things that were just not quite safe. Millions of little electrical things that he would just sort of insulate a little better, and et cetera, et cetera. And he rebuilt the carb, and he found what was happening with the oil line is from forever ago. Like when this motor was first redone in 1990 or 95, I guess it was, I don't know. Whenever Doc did the whole Wiseco pistons, Buell top end thing, one of the oil lines wasn't pathed right, basically, and it wasn't venting properly, so it was building up pressure and then puking out a bunch of oil all at once. So what he did was rerun the lines, make everything nice and safe. We got a breather up top here, so we don't have that problem anymore. And I'll be damned, yeah, I ran the piss out of it the couple days after I picked it up, and she don't leak no more. So that's great. I mean, there was a drop or two, but not like, I mean, you guys remember when I got from Daytona, it was like the Exxon Valdez all over the floor, and things were scary because it was gently oiling the rear brake and stuff, which, I know that's a sprocket, the other side's the brake. So the brake didn't really work because it was being lubed as I rode the motorcycle. So that's all taken care of. So this is all ready for Sturgis and all that stuff. What we're doing today is I'm fixing one pain in the ass thing that Chopper knew about, and I said, don't worry about it, I'll figure it out. And that is this crappy choke bracket here. Is like spread, the teeth are spread, the choke pops out of it like it just did as I just touched it. See that? So I got a nice bracket from TC Bros I bought it on Amazon. Funny story, bought it on Amazon, got it here. Wife lost it, had to buy another one. So anyway, 2 of those. So I have a TC Bros bracket that goes here. Also, as predicted, I've decided not that I don't like that air cleaner, but that it's not what's right for this bike. The bike's a 70 skinny, right? It's supposed to be narrow. And that big old snorkel just doesn't It doesn't feel right to me, you know, like maybe I'm wrong. So El Buffalo called it when I put it on. He said, I'm really going to enjoy that when you take it off because it's going on my wife's bike. So Mrs. Buffalo has a really cool, remember the Sportster touring model? She got one of those. So I'm going to take that off, throw it in the truck, and take it to them during Sturgis, and they can have it and put it on their bike. But what I have to go on it is an old school velocity stack, which, yes, I know is not exactly good protection for the motor, but I don't ride this in hurricanes. Why? Because I would die. So what we're going to do, we're going to pop the carb off, ditch that air cleaner, put the new support bracket on, the velocity stack, and a bracket on top of the carb that's going to hold the choke right, and then it'll be done and ready. I'll ride the heck out of it, you know, a bit later today and tomorrow to make sure that I'm truly happy with it, and then we can load it, I don't know, this weekend or something? I don't know. And that will give me the room I need in the garage to tear down the Tonka and get ready for the whole new body that's going on it. So, I need a warehouse. Anybody got a warehouse in South Florida I can just have? You know, I'm a nice guy. Not really. But, alright, so let me just start tearing into this, and I'll show you in a minute what we got. So, as you can see here, what we have is shit everywhere. But, I got a new support bracket that will hold the carb to the motor, and I can attach the air cleaner to, gaskets, all that stuff. This is a no-name. This is the TC Bros choke support bracket that I was telling you about earlier. So, I got it on Amazon, but, you know, I just figured, I ordered it from Amazon because I could track the shipping easier, but... So just a bracket that goes in the top of the carb and then creates this sort of lip here for you to kind of woohoo, put your choke in there and crank her down. And it's a steel piece, so it's not going to fold apart like that piece of aluminum foil that was holding it on before. This is the velocity stack I got. I can't remember what company it is, but I got it on Amazon. Nice piece. I'm just going to run this, you know, bit of... Yeah, I know, it's not perfect for every day, but, you know, for that, it's perfect. New Guardian bell I forgot about. I actually have a David Mann Guardian bell that the wife bought me, which is really cool. Understated, but it has, you know, him on it and his signature on the backside. And of course, these you get on Amazon. They're actually Guardian bell bracket. This goes better than a zip tie. So I put that on the bike because I've been rolling around with no Guardian bell on there. I'm surprised it hasn't. I mean, it tried to catch fire in Daytona, but didn't. So, you know, surprised that didn't happen. So I got my 9/16 to get. I think I'm going to use that spiky engine mount bolt down there for the Guardian bell. And then this is all Allen's taking the air cleaner off, the current support bracket off, pull the carb off, pull the top off, add that bracket, put it all back together, yada, yada, yada. So not hard stuff, but important stuff, right? So these are already, I need to get my blue Loctite because not everything is ready. So yeah, I got to get that. From there, I should have everything I need. And look, Nick, look. I'm using a table instead of a trash can. That'll make him happy. Nick actually sent this as a gift because he's a good dude and he knows I'm an idiot. And he was like, here, have a table, which is better than garbage. It's a theory anyway. Well, we've hit a brick wall. This bike's a bit of a Frankenstein. We know that, right? So the bottom end of the motor is 1990, first generation Evo Sportster. Which somebody even said is very much like an iron head, the bottom half, 4-speed training. And the top end was born in 883, but is now a 1200 kit from a Buell Firebolt sport bike with Y-scope pistons. 10.5 to 1, no, more than that maybe, compression, that it was checked. Compression's good, but I can't remember what the number was, but twas high, because even Chopper was like, damn. So, there's some things that are different. I'll show you. Well, first off, let me say that in 1990, the original old Evo Sportster had a breather in the bottom end of the motor, like I just described the puking oil thing. This one's got both. This one's got a breather in the bottom. Somebody comment down below. Breather in the bottom, which is functioning and necessary, or you'll puke oil out. But it also has breather bolts in the heads because it's Buell. So, I don't want to just block those off like it would have been in 1990. So a 1990 does not have the breather bolts in the head. You just put a bolt in there that supports the air cleaner. These are breather heads on this bike. So I think I'm going to have to put my Arlen Ness back on because it has the proper breather bolts. It all fit before. I didn't run into this problem before. So I think what I'm only going to be able to accomplish today, which is really the most important thing, is get my choke sorted, mounted up top, and get that Arlen Ness breather back on it, because I looks like I can't put the velocity stack on. Let me know if somebody knows better than I do, which is not hard to do. But I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to either find weird breather bolts that are the right size and not too long, or I might be screwed and have to run, oddly enough, this specific air cleaner fit the bill. So, all right, let me put this all back. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I have a breather down below here that runs up right chair and breathes, is a breather for the lower crankcase. But I also have breathers there. You normally have one or the other. As you can see, 'tis open to the heads in there. So I don't want to block those off. Yeah. All right, so comment down below, and this is not done forever, but at least for Sturgis, I'm going to put the Arlen Ness back on it and run that. Yeah, so, damn. Well, at least I can fix my choke thing. That's all mocked up, and it's going to work perfectly. So, let me knock this out. Well, kids, looks like that's the look I'm going to have. I mean, I'm not whining. It's a really badass air cleaner. It's an Arlen Ness. It's just, I kind of wanted to go older school with it in hindsight, but whatever. I mean, we got side dumps. Those aren't exactly old school either. If we went real old school, we'd have some nice up sweeps and stuff, which this frame is Paughco, and Paughco makes up sweeps for this exact build, like this exact kind of plan, that frame with a Sporty 1200 motor. In theory, again, the whole top-end Buell thing makes things creative. But supposedly the up sweeps, they're kind of perfect for this, but again, they're like $1,000. So I don't want to put another $1,000 into it because I'm not even completely certain that I'm going to keep brown sugar long term, but we'll see. Might need to sell that to put that money with the money from the shovel head someday to buy even bigger, more fabulous old things, but we'll see. I don't know. Hopefully I can hold on to it, but maybe not. It's running top notch. I mean, like, I ran it for a second, but it's still pretty cold. So no choke. Choke's completely off. So I ran it for a few seconds before that, but yeah, I mean, so I don't seem to have, every once in a while she spits. I'm not sure what it is she's supposed to swallow. It's a joke. But yeah, every once in a while she'll spit at me when I'm accelerating. Not sure what that is. Hopefully, I mean, it might have gone away because sometimes I find there could be a little leak in the manifold gasket, and all you do is take the carb off, put it back on, kind of straighten it up and center back down, and suddenly it goes away. So I'm hoping maybe that was it. There was just a slight leak there. But, the carbs come off, put it back on. I checked the gasket. It's seated nice on the manifold. So I don't, I'm not sure what's going on. But, yeah, so that's the way she's going to look. I still get to put my Guardian bell on. I'll show you that. That's David Mann. That's pretty badass. But I'm thinking that spiky engine mount nut right there is perfect for it. That support bar didn't cooperate, so I had to put it on the low side of the bike. I mean, I guess it makes more sense, right? Because they say the Gremlins have to be the lowest to the ground, so I guess I'd ended up putting it in the right spot. Here, I'll show you. Talk about cool factor. We got a David Mann Gremlin bell there mounted on a mount there. So if you don't know that story, essentially the gremlins that cause your bike to break and you'd have accidents and all that stuff, they are irritated by the sound of a ringing bell. So you put a gremlin bell on your bike, they're attracted down to the bell, they get to the bell and then fall off the motorcycle. So that's the old saying about them. But I'll put a link below, but you can buy this on David Mann's website. Jackie, his widow, still sells artwork and t-shirts and really cool stuff with David Mann imagery on it. If you don't know what that is, look it up. He was the real illustrator that we all loved from the Easy Rider days back in the day with, anyway, we've all seen a billion of his paintings. So Ghost Rider's my favorite, but that's kind of a cliche because it's everybody's favorite. But, all right, so thus ends a truly exhilarating video of me moving the choke on the bike and putting a bell on. That is actually what we did today in the video. On the good point, on a good side of this, I didn't burn any of my fingers. I burned my elbow, which is impressive. When I was down there, the touch at the head pipe right after the bike had been running, and I burned my elbow, which is a first. And I feel that first should be celebrated. So I'm going to celebrate with a glass of something brown and flammable. So, all right. I love you all to death. Take care of each other out there. We'll talk real soon. Bye.